The Iron Wolves biker gang thought they'd found an easy target when they circled St. Michael's Church. What they didn't know was that Father Michael Donovan had trained K9s for Marine Special Operations. Now, as three German shepherds moved into position, their ambush unraveled into chaos. The morning light filtered through the stained glass windows of St. Michael's Church, casting multicolored patterns across the worn wooden floor. Father Michael Donovan moved with a deliberate grace that spoke of years of military training, his three German shepherds positioned throughout the small rural church with a precision that defied typical understanding of service animals. Redemption Valley stretched out beyond the church windows, a landscape of rolling hills, distant mountains, and a history carved by generations of hardworking families. The town might have looked peaceful, but Father Michael knew better. Landscapes could hide complex stories, just like people. Gabriel sat near the altar, his posture military perfect. A veteran of 3 combat tours, the dog's body bore subtle scars that told stories of missions in some of the world's most dangerous regions. Raphael maintained a watch near the main entrance, his eyes scanning with a tactical awareness that went far beyond simple animal instinct. Michael, named after the archangel and the priest himself, moved silently between the pews, a living security system that most would mistake for a simple church dog. The church stood as a sanctuary in the heart of Redemption Valley, a small town where everyone knew everyone, and secrets traveled faster than Sunday gossip. But Father Michael Donovan was a man of many layers, a priest whose past was etched into every movement, every calculated glance. 25 years in the Marine Corps had transformed Michael from a young recruit to one of the most respected military working dog trainers in modern military history. His career was a testament to the incredible bond between handlers and their canine partners. Multiple tours in Afghanistan and Iraq had taught him that survival often depended on the incredible capabilities of these four-legged warriors. Now he found his calling in a different kind of service. The church wasn't just a building, it was a mission field, a place of protection, a sanctuary in the truest sense of the word. "Morning, Father," Emma Rodriguez called as she entered the church, preparing for morning cleaning. The dogs acknowledged her with subtle shifts, not aggressive, but a precise communication that suggested complete awareness. Years of training had turned them into more than just animals. They were tactical assets with an understanding that went beyond simple commands. Gabriel's ears twitched. Something was different about this morning. The air carried a tension that most would miss, but not these dogs, not Father Michael. His hand moved almost imperceptibly, a signal the dogs recognized instantly. Years of combat had transformed their communication into a language more complex than most human interactions. Each movement, each subtle shift carried volumes of information. The motorcycle sounds came first, not the casual rumble of local weekend riders. These were different, deliberate, calculated. 3 bikes rolled past the church, their riders wearing colors that marked them as members of the local motorcycle club, the Iron Wolves. Their approach was anything but casual. Professional movement, tactical positioning. These weren't just random riders, they were conducting reconnaissance. Raphael's posture changed, a communication more sophisticated than a simple growl. Warning, potential threat detected. The dog's body became a living sensor, reading the environment with a precision that would challenge most advanced technological systems. Father Michael had seen this before, in Afghanistan, in Iraq. The subtle signs of an approaching confrontation, the way a terrain changes just before conflict erupts, the microscopic shifts in environment that signal potential danger. His military background wasn't something he advertised. To most in Redemption Valley, he was simply Father Michael, the kind priest who ran the local church, helped with community programs, and seemed to have an unusually well-trained set of dogs. What they didn't know was that these dogs were more than just service animals. They were combat veterans with more operational experience than most human soldiers. Gabriel had specialized in explosive detection, saving entire units by identifying IED locations with a precision that defied belief. Raphael was a tracking specialist with an ability to follow a scent trail through terrain that would challenge the most experienced human trackers. Michael, the youngest, brought a raw energy and adaptability that complemented the older dog's experience. The bikes circled the block, reconnaissance, probing, testing. Father Michael's hand touched Gabriel's collar, a signal more complex than a simple command. The dog wasn't just listening, he was analyzing, processing, reading the tactical situation with a sophistication that blurred the line between animal instinct and military intelligence. Sheriff Tom Harrison pulled up in his patrol car, breaking the morning's growing tension. "Morning, Father," he called out, his voice carrying the weight of years of small-town law enforcement. "Morning, Tom," Father Michael responded, his voice calm. The dogs adjusted their positions, not out of fear, but tactical repositioning. "Been seeing more of the iron wolves around," the sheriff said, his eyes scanning the street. "Heard they've been pushing into local businesses, protection rackets, minor intimidation." Father Michael knew it was more than that. These weren't just random acts. This was a systematic approach, testing responses, identifying vulnerabilities. The dogs sensed it too. Their postures shifted, not aggressive, calculated. Something was coming to Redemption Valley, and they would be ready. The first move was about to be made. The afternoon sun hung heavy over Redemption Valley, casting long shadows across the church grounds. Father Michael Donovan stood on the steps, Gabriel and Raphael flanking him with a precision that spoke of years of military training. Michael remained alert near the church entrance, his posture a perfect example of tactical positioning. The landscape of Redemption Valley told a story of resilience. Rolling hills, distant mountains, a terrain that had seen its share of conflicts long before the Iron Wolves arrived. Every fence post, every stretch of road carried historical weight. The Iron Wolves had been making their presence known. Not just random appearances, calculated, deliberate, probing. Their approach was more sophisticated than typical local troublemakers. This was a systematic campaign of intimidation and territorial control. Jake Martinez, the local mechanic, approached with a worried look. His auto repair shop sat directly across from the church, giving him a front row seat to the growing tension. "Father," he said, his voice low, "those bikers have been asking questions about the church, about you, about the dogs." Michael's hand moved almost imperceptibly, a signal the dogs recognized instantly. Gabriel's ears twitched, a communication more complex than simple animal instinct. Years of combat training had transformed these dogs into living, breathing, tactical communication systems. Two motorcycles rolled slowly past the church. Not a casual pass, a deliberate reconnaissance. The riders wore Iron Wolves colors, their leather cuts displaying a patch that marked them as more than just local troublemakers. Professional movement, tactical positioning. These were operators who understood the psychology of intimidation. The first rider, a man with a face marked by years of hard living and violence, locked eyes with Father Michael. A challenge, a warning, the kind of look Michael had seen countless times in combat zones, a test of resolve. Gabriel's growl was low, not aggressive, a communication. Potential threat detected, a sound that carried more information than most human communication could convey. Father Michael's military background wasn't something he advertised. To most in Redemption Valley, he was simply the kind priest who ran the local church. What they didn't know was the depth of his combat experience. 25 years in the Marine Corps, multiple tours in some of the world's most dangerous combat zones, a career that had transformed him into a master of tactical assessment and response. These dogs weren't just service animals. They were combat veterans with more operational experience than most human soldiers. Gabriel had 3 combat tours in Afghanistan. Specialized in explosive detection, he'd saved entire units by identifying IED locations, with a precision that defied belief. Scars beneath his fur told stories of missions that had saved lives in the most dangerous regions of the world. Raphael was a tracking specialist, with an ability to follow a scent trail through terrain that would challenge the most experienced human trackers. His military record was legendary among K9 units. Missions that seemed impossible, completed with surgical precision. Michael, the youngest, brought a raw energy and adaptability that complemented the older dog's experience. A new generation of military working dogs that represented the cutting edge of tactical canine operations. The bikes circled the block, probing, testing, gathering intelligence. Their movement was deliberate, mapping response times, identifying potential weaknesses, a classic reconnaissance strategy Michael had seen deployed in combat zones around the world. Sheriff Tom Harrison pulled up, breaking the growing tension. His patrol car's approach was careful, calculated. "Heard you've got some unwelcome visitors," he said, stepping out with the measured movements of a law enforcement veteran. "They're testing responses," Father Michael responded, his voice calm. The dogs adjusted their positions, tactical repositioning that showed years of coordinated training. Tom's expression darkened. "Iron wolves have been pushing into local businesses, protection rackets, intimidation. They're trying to establish control over the entire valley." Michael knew it was more than that. A systematic approach, identifying vulnerabilities, creating psychological pressure, breaking down community resistance through calculated intimidation. As the afternoon wore on, the reconnaissance continued. A truck pulled into Jake's auto repair shop. More Iron Wolves members arrived, their movements calculated, professional. Each arrival a carefully orchestrated show of force. Jake approached Father Michael again, his worry evident. "They were asking about the church's security, about your dogs. Seemed particularly interested in where you got them, your training methods." The dog's postures shifted, not aggressive, analytical, reading the environment with a sophistication that went beyond simple animal perception. Evening approached. The Iron Wolf's presence grew more pronounced. Motorcycles passing, slow, deliberate, watching, each pass a psychological probe, testing the community's resolve. Father Michael remembered similar tactics in combat zones, insurgents testing defenses, probing for weaknesses, creating an environment of uncertainty designed to break spirit before the first shot was fired. Gabriel's ears pricked forward. Raphael's body tensed. Michael moved to a new observation point, each movement a calculated tactical response. "They're mapping our responses," Father Michael murmured, more to himself than to the dogs. A group of bikers gathered at the local diner. Not random, positioned to have a clear view of the church. Watching, waiting, creating a visible threat that spoke volumes without a single word. The first direct approach came as the sun began to set. A single rider broke from the group, rolling slowly past the church steps. Something was coming to Redemption Valley. The first move had been made, but the real confrontation was just beginning. The war room wasn't a military command center. It was the church's basement, transformed into a sophisticated intelligence hub by Father Michael Donovan and his network of trusted allies. Maps covered one wall. Digital screens displayed encrypted communication feeds. Surveillance equipment blended seamlessly with religious artifacts, a testament to the complex life of a priest with a military intelligence background. The basement told a story of preparation. Decades of military intelligence experience had taught Father Michael that information was the most powerful weapon. Each piece of equipment carefully selected, each communication channel meticulously secured. The dogs moved through the space with the same calculated precision they'd once used in combat zones. Sheriff Tom Harrison spread out a series of photographs and documents on the large wooden table. "The Iron Wolves aren't just a local motorcycle club," he explained, his weathered fingers tracing a series of red marks across a detailed map of the region. "They're part of something much larger, a comprehensive criminal infrastructure that's been developing for years." The map was a complex web of connections, land purchases, business acquisitions, transportation routes. Each line represented a potential criminal pathway, a route of potential illegal activity that stretched far beyond Redemption Valley. Gabriel sat closest to the map, his military training evident in how he analyzed the intelligence. Years of combat had transformed him from a simple military working dog to a living, breathing tactical asset. His scars told stories of missions that had saved entire units in the most dangerous regions of the world. Raphael maintained a perimeter watch, his tracking capabilities legendary among military K9 units. Michael positioned himself to block the single entrance, a tactical placement that spoke volumes about their combat experience and training. "These land acquisitions," Tom continued, spreading additional photographs, "they're not random. Look at how they connect. They're creating a logistical network that completely bypasses traditional law enforcement monitoring. The photographs revealed a sophisticated operation. Properties purchased strategically, businesses acquired with surgical precision, transportation routes carefully mapped out. This was more than a local criminal enterprise. This was a comprehensive infrastructure development project. Father Michael's background in military intelligence came into full play. He began cross-referencing the photographs with a series of digital files on an encrypted tablet. See these property purchases, he pointed out. They're not just buying land. They're establishing a comprehensive infrastructure that could support multiple criminal operations. Jake Martinez, the local mechanic, had become an unexpected intelligence asset. His automotive repair shop provided a unique vantage point. I've been tracking their movement, he explained, spreading out additional documents. They're not just moving through town. They're setting up something much larger. The Iron Wolves operation was sophistication incarnate. Multiple shell companies created a complex web of legitimate-looking businesses, construction firms, transportation companies, real estate investment groups. Each purchase carefully calculated to create a shadow network of control that could operate with near-total impunity. Diego, a local computer expert who had been helping Father Michael analyze the intelligence, pulled up satellite imagery and financial tracking. Look at these communication patterns, he reported. They're using encrypted channels, military-grade communication protocols. These aren't standard criminal communication methods. The dogs weren't just passive participants. They were active intelligence gatherers. Gabriel could identify specific electronic signatures, a skill developed through years of military intelligence work. Raphael could detect minute changes in environmental conditions that might indicate human movement. Michael showed an uncanny ability to predict potential approach vectors. Most people see dogs, Father Michael would explain. We see living, breathing, tactical assets. Local contacts began providing pieces of a larger puzzle. Maria Rodriguez, who ran the town's diner, had overheard conversations. Local truckers shared information about unusual shipments. Each piece of intelligence carefully collected, verified, analyzed. The operation went far beyond typical criminal activity. This was a comprehensive attempt to establish a shadow economic infrastructure, not just moving illegal goods, creating entire systems of economic control that could operate beyond traditional law enforcement capabilities. They're not just moving drugs, Tom explained, spreading out additional surveillance photos. They're creating a comprehensive system of control, economic, technological, political. This is a sophisticated criminal enterprise that's been developing for years. Father Michael's military background allowed him to see the broader strategic implications. This wasn't just about territorial control. This was about creating a shadow economy that could operate with near total impunity, potentially reshaping entire regional economic landscapes. As the intelligence gathered, a clearer picture emerged. The Iron Wolves were more than a motorcycle club. They were the visible face of a much larger, more sophisticated criminal operation. The dogs remained alert throughout the intelligence gathering. Gabriel's ears would prick up at specific sounds. Raphael would shift positions subtly, indicating potential surveillance. Michael maintained a constant state of tactical awareness. They're building something, Father Michael summarized, studying the collected intelligence. A comprehensive network that goes far beyond a simple motorcycle club. The intelligence gathering was complete. The real investigation was about to begin. The church transformed over the next week. What had once been a simple place of worship became a fortress of tactical preparation. Father Michael Donovan moved with a purpose that spoke of years of military planning, each modification carefully calculated to create multiple layers of defense. The landscape of Redemption Valley provided both challenge and opportunity. Rolling hills, dense woodland patches, strategic vantage points that could be used for both observation and defense. Every feature of the terrain would be integrated into their defensive strategy. Diego's technological expertise came into full play. He began installing advanced sensor systems that turned the church grounds into a sophisticated early warning network. Ground-penetrating radar disguised as decorative garden features. Acoustic sensors buried beneath seemingly innocent landscaping. thermal imaging cameras hidden in architectural elements. These aren't just security systems, Diego explained to Father Michael, showing him the detailed schematics. They're an intelligent network that can predict and analyze potential threats. Gabriel, Raphael, and Michael moved through the property with a sense of purpose. Their training went beyond traditional military dog protocols. They weren't just detecting threats, they were actively participating in the church's defensive strategy. Each dog had been cross-trained in multiple specialized areas: explosive detection, tactical communication, advanced reconnaissance. Local community members began to contribute. Jake Martinez modified security vehicles. Maria Rodriguez helped coordinate communication networks. Each person brought skills honed through years of hard work and resilience. Father Michael's military contacts began arriving discreetly. Retired Special Forces operators, former law enforcement professionals, border security experts, a network built over decades of service. They brought more than just advice. They brought specialized equipment, tactical knowledge, and a deep understanding of the growing threat. This isn't just about protecting the church, Tom Harrison explained during a strategy session. We're looking at a comprehensive defensive strategy that could serve as a model for other communities. The church basement was transformed into a command center that would rival most law enforcement facilities. Maria's intelligence background came into full play as she began mapping the Iron Wolves' known operations, identifying patterns, creating predictive models of their potential movements. Look at their land acquisitions, she pointed out, spreading satellite images across the table. They're not just buying property, they're creating a logistical network that bypasses traditional law enforcement monitoring. Communication systems became a critical focus. Diego developed encrypted networks that could provide rapid response capabilities. Military-grade communication equipment was modified, tested, repurposed. Each system designed to be secure, adaptable, virtually unbreakable. The dogs weren't just passive participants. Gabriel demonstrated an ability to identify specific electronic signatures, a skill developed through years of military intelligence work. Raphael could detect minute changes in environmental conditions that might indicate human presence. Michael showed an uncanny ability to predict potential approach vectors. Most people see a dog, Father Michael would explain to the team. We see a living, breathing, tactical asset. Defensive preparations went beyond technology. The team began intensive training scenarios, mock attacks, communication protocols, coordinated response strategies. Every team member understood their role, their position, and their potential contribution to the church's defense. Specialized barriers were installed. Not just physical fences, but sophisticated systems that could create multiple layers of defense: electronic jamming capabilities, smoke deployment systems, acoustic deterrent technologies, each layer designed to provide maximum protection with minimal visibility. They'll expect a traditional defense, Father Michael explained during one of their strategy sessions. We're going to give them something they've never seen before. The dogs underwent intensive retraining. Not that they needed much. Their combat experience was already legendary, but Father Michael wanted to ensure they were prepared for every possible scenario. Urban warfare techniques, terrain navigation, close quarters combat protocols, local community connections proved unexpectedly valuable. Computer science students helped develop AI-driven threat assessment algorithms. The church's defensive systems would be able to learn, adapt, predict. This is about more than just stopping an attack, Father Michael explained to his team. This is about sending a message. We're not just defending our church. We're showing that there are still places that can't be intimidated. As the week progressed, the church became something entirely new. Part spiritual sanctuary, part high-tech research facility, part defensive stronghold. But underneath it all was a simple truth. This was a community preparing to fight for its survival. The Iron Wolves thought they were choosing the battlefield. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The strategic preparation was complete. The response was about to begin. The first light of dawn broke across Redemption Valley with an ominous stillness. Father Michael Donovan stood on the church steps. Gabriel, Raphael, and Michael positioned around him with tactical precision that spoke of years of military training and combat experience. The Texas borderlands stretched out before them, a harsh, unforgiving landscape that had seen countless conflicts long before the Iron Wolves arrived. Every hill, every patch of scrub brush was a potential tactical position, a lesson Father Michael had learned through years of military service. Something had changed. The air carried a different weight. The dogs had been restless since midnight, their movements betraying a tension that went beyond normal vigilance. Years of combat training had transformed these animals into living, breathing threat detection systems. Raphael's ears pricked forward first, a subtle movement that most would miss. His combat history was etched into every muscle. Scars beneath his fur told stories of missions that had saved entire units in the most dangerous regions of the world. Michael shifted position, his body coiling with a predatory awareness that spoke of years of combat training. At the youngest of the three dogs, he brought a raw energy and adaptability that complemented the older dog's experience. Gabriel remained motionless beside Father Michael, but his eyes scanned the horizon with calculated precision. "They're coming," Michael muttered, more to himself than to the dogs. A lifetime of military intelligence had taught him to read the subtle signs of an approaching confrontation. The church's defensive systems had been meticulously prepared. Layers of technology blended seamlessly with the natural terrain. Hidden sensors developed by Diego integrated perfectly with the landscape. Encrypted communication networks that would challenge most military communication platforms. Tactical response protocols developed through years of military experience. A distant sound caught Gabriel's attention. Not a vehicle, not wildlife, something else. A vibration, a change in the environmental signature that only years of combat training could detect. Three black SUVs appeared on the horizon, their approach calculated and precise. Professional operators, not random thugs. These were tactical units moving with military-grade coordination, each vehicle modified for tactical operations. Reinforced chassis, advanced communication systems, professional-grade equipment that suggested significant resources. Diego's voice came through the encrypted radio, his technological expertise providing critical intelligence. Multiple contacts, 3 vehicles. Thermal imaging shows 6 to 8 occupants. Professional movement patterns. Definitely tactical team. Tom Harrison's voice followed, carrying the weight of years of law enforcement experience. They're not trying to hide anymore. This is a direct assault, full tactical approach. The church grounds had been transformed into a defensive position that would challenge most military installations. Every fence post, every tree, every architectural feature had been carefully modified to provide maximum tactical advantage. Acoustic sensors disguised as garden decorations, thermal imaging cameras hidden in architectural elements, ground-penetrating radar integrated into the landscaping. The SUVs slowed as they approached the first perimeter fence. No attempt to breach, just observation, tactical probing, a standard military reconnaissance approach, testing defensive capabilities, identifying potential vulnerabilities. Raphael's growl was low, a communication more than a threat, a sound that carried more information than most human communication could convey. Gabriel's body remained coiled, ready for any signal from Father Michael. "They're testing our response," Father Michael explained softly, his hand moving almost imperceptibly, a signal the dogs recognized instantly. A communication developed through years of combat missions, a language more complex than simple commands. The lead SUV's door opened. A man stepped out. Tactical stance, military posture, former special forces, now working for the Iron Wolves. Not a street-level operator, a professional with years of tactical training. "Father Michael Donovan," the man's voice carried across the open ground. "We're here to discuss your position in this community." Father Michael's laugh was cold, a sound that carried the weight of military experience. "Nothing to discuss." The dog's response was instantaneous, not aggression, pure tactical positioning. Raphael moved to cut potential approach routes. Michael prepared a containment strategy. Gabriel remained close to Father Michael. Protection and potential intervention. The Iron Wolves team began to spread out. Professional movement, coordinated approach. They expected a standard response. They had no idea what was waiting for them. Electronic warfare began first. The church's defensive systems activated, signal jamming, communication disruption. The Iron Wolves' tactical coordination suddenly found itself compromised. Electromagnetic pulse deployed, Diego reported. Their communication systems are going dark. The first move had been made. The response was about to begin. The aftermath of the first confrontation hung in the air like a gathering storm. Father Michael Donovan knew the Iron Wolves' response would be calculated, brutal, and immediate. The church transformed into a fortress of tactical preparation, every member of the team moving with a precision that spoke of years of military training. The Texas borderlands stretched out around them, a harsh, unforgiving landscape that had seen countless battles long before the Iron Wolves arrived. Every hill, every arroyo, every patch of scrub brush was a potential tactical position, a lesson Father Michael had learned through years of military service. Intelligence began flowing in from multiple sources. Tom Harrison arrived with a stack of classified reports, his face etched with growing concern. "They're not backing down," he explained, spreading photographs across the kitchen table. "These aren't just local operators. We're looking at a coordinated regional expansion that goes far beyond typical criminal activity." The photographs told a complex story of systematic infiltration, land purchases mapped out with military precision, strategic property acquisitions created a network of potential operational bases that stretched across multiple counties. Gabriel, Raphael, and Michael moved through the room with a calculated awareness that defied traditional understanding of animal behavior. Each dog positioned to provide maximum observation, their movements synchronized like a well-trained special operations unit. Rex bore scars from 3 combat tours, each mark a testament to missions that saved entire units in the most dangerous regions of the world. Raphael's tracking capabilities were legendary, his ability to detect human presence across impossible terrain unmatched by any technological system. Michael, the youngest, brought a raw energy and adaptability that complemented the older dog's experience. "Look at these land acquisitions," Maria analyzed, her fingers tracing a complex network of property purchases that seemed to form a strategic grid. "It's not random. They're creating a logistical infrastructure that completely bypasses traditional law enforcement monitoring." The Iron Wolves' strategy was sophisticated beyond anything local authorities had encountered. Multiple shell companies created a labyrinth of legitimate-looking businesses, construction firms, agricultural supply companies, real estate investment groups. Each purchase carefully calculated to create a shadow network of control that could operate with near-total impunity. Diego worked the digital intelligence, pulling up satellite imagery, communication intercepts, financial tracking that revealed the true depth of the operation. "They've got shell companies spanning 3 states," he reported, his fingers moving across multiple screens. "The financial trails are incredibly complex. Multiple banks, offshore accounts, cryptocurrency transactions. They're moving resources faster than we can track them." The response was a multi-layered assault designed to create maximum pressure. Not a direct confrontation, but a comprehensive campaign of intimidation and economic warfare. Local businesses began experiencing subtle but persistent threats. Supply chains mysteriously disrupted. Communication networks probed. "They want to isolate us," Father Michael explained to the team, his voice carrying the weight of years of military intelligence experience. "Create an environment of fear. Make us look vulnerable. Cut off our resources and support network." Local business owners reported strange encounters. Unmarked vehicles, professional-looking individuals asking pointed questions, gathering intelligence, testing responses, probing for any sign of weakness. The dogs became more than defenders. Gabriel could identify specific electronic signatures that might indicate surveillance equipment. Raphael could track minute changes in environmental conditions that suggested human movement. Michael could predict potential approach vectors with an uncanny precision that blurred the line between animal instinct and tactical intelligence. Tom Harrison's radio crackled with reports of coordinated incidents across multiple counties, supply line disruptions, communication network probes, a systematic campaign of pressure designed to break down local resistance. Maria's intelligence background came into full play. She began mapping the Iron Wolves' movements, identifying patterns, creating predictive models of their potential strategies. Each piece of intelligence carefully cross-referenced, analyzed, interpreted with the precision of a military intelligence operation. They're not just trying to intimidate, Maria explained. They're systematically testing our responses, identifying vulnerabilities, creating a comprehensive intelligence profile. The team understood what others did not. This was more than a territorial dispute. This was a comprehensive attempt to reshape the economic and social landscape of the region. The Iron Wolves were playing a long game. Pressure, intelligence gathering, systematic breakdown of resistance. But they had no idea what they were truly up against. The escalation was complete. The real war was about to begin. The night fell like a tactical curtain across Redemption Valley. Darkness wasn't an absence of light, it was a weapon. Father Michael Donovan stood on the church steps. Gabriel pressed against his leg. Raphael and Michael positioned at strategic observation points that covered every potential approach vector. The Texas borderlands stretched out before them, a harsh, unforgiving landscape that had seen countless battles long before the Iron Wolves arrived. Every hill, every patch of scrub brush was a potential tactical position, a lesson Father Michael had learned through years of military service. Something was coming. The air carried a tension that went beyond normal anticipation. Years of combat had taught Father Michael to read the landscape like a living, breathing intelligence report. The dogs sensed it too. Their postures shifted, muscles coiled with a precision that spoke of extensive combat training. Tom Harrison had provided the final piece of intelligence earlier that evening. "They're making their move," he'd explained, spreading satellite imagery across the kitchen table. "Full tactical assault, not just a probing attack. They're coming to eliminate our entire operation." The intelligence was comprehensive. Detailed satellite imagery, intercepted communication logs, financial tracking. The Iron Wolves had assembled a force that looked more like a military invasion than a typical criminal operation. 3 modified SUVs with reinforced chassis, advanced tactical communication equipment, professional operators with military-grade weapons and specialized training. Diego's communication monitoring system picked up encrypted transmissions that painted a chilling picture. "They're using military-grade communication protocols," he reported, his fingers flying across multiple encrypted screens. "Frequency hopping, advanced encryption. These aren't local operators. These are professional tacticians with cutting-edge technological capabilities." Maria's intelligence analysis went deeper. Decades of intelligence experience allowed her to see the broader strategic implications. "Look at their approach," she explained, showing detailed tactical maps that revealed a complex operational strategy. "They're not just attacking, they're attempting to create a comprehensive territorial control zone. This goes beyond a simple confrontation." Gabriel's combat history was etched into every movement. Scars beneath his fur told stories of missions that had saved entire units in the most dangerous regions of the world. Raphael's tracking capabilities were legendary. He could follow a scent trail through terrain that would challenge the most experienced human trackers. Michael, the youngest, brought a raw energy and adaptability that complemented the older dog's experience. The church had transformed into a fortress that would make most military installations look primitive. Hidden sensors buried beneath the ground could detect movement with microscopic precision. Acoustic detection systems camouflaged as architectural features could distinguish between wildlife, local traffic, and tactical approach. Thermal imaging cameras disguised in strategic locations provided comprehensive surveillance. The first sign of approach came through Gabriel. The dog's posture changed. Not an aggressive response, but a precise communication. Multiple targets. Coordinated approach. Professional operators. A lifetime of military training compressed into a single subtle shift of muscle and stance. "Incoming," Father Michael whispered, a signal that instantly activated the church's comprehensive defensive protocols. Raphael moved to a strategic position that provided maximum tactical coverage. His movement was calculated, each step precisely placed to create the most effective observation point. Michael prepared an advanced reconnaissance approach, his body a coiled spring of potential energy. Gabriel remained close to Father Michael. Protection and potential intervention combined into a single, precise movement. The first vehicles appeared on the horizon, not just approaching, advancing with a tactical precision that spoke of specialized military training. Their movement was coordinated, professional, a testament to the Iron Wolves' evolving capabilities. 3 vehicles, Diego reported, his voice clinical and precise. Thermal imaging shows 8 to 10 occupants. Professional movement patterns, modified for tactical operations. They're using standard military approach formations. The Iron Wolves weren't just sending a message, they were launching a comprehensive assault designed to completely neutralize the church's resistance. This was more than a territorial dispute. This was a calculated attempt to reshape the local social landscape. Maria's voice came through the encrypted communication system. They're using a standard military approach formation, flanking positions, cover fire positions. These are professional operators with extensive tactical training. The first shots came not as a direct assault, but as a sophisticated probing attack, designed to test defensive capabilities, to identify potential weaknesses, to understand the full extent of the church's defensive systems. Gabriel moved with Father Michael, a coordinated dance developed through years of combat missions. Every movement calculated, every position strategic. The bond between handler and dog went beyond training. It was a language of survival developed in the world's most dangerous combat zones. They're attempting to compromise our communication systems, Maria analyzed, monitoring the electronic battlefield with the precision of a military intelligence operation. Classic tactical approach: divide, compromise, control. Michael demonstrated why he was considered one of the most advanced tactical K9 units. Not just detection, not just intervention, active tactical communication, reading the terrain, predicting movement, providing real-time intelligence that went beyond traditional understanding of animal capabilities. The assault wasn't just physical, it was a comprehensive attack designed to break the church's resistance through multiple vectors: technological, psychological, physical. Father Michael's voice remained calm. This is our sanctuary, our home. The first wave of assault crashed against the church's defenses. The real battle was about to begin. The dawn broke over Redemption Valley like a hard-won victory, painting the landscape in hues of amber and dust. Smoke still lingered from the night's confrontation, a testament to the fierce battle that had transformed the borderland into a battlefield of unprecedented complexity. Tom Harrison's patrol car rolled up the long drive, its approach careful and measured. The church looked both damaged and defiant, a landscape that had absorbed the violence of the night and emerged stronger. Bullet-riddled fence posts, scorched ground, disabled Iron Wolves vehicles scattered like broken toys across the terrain. Father Michael Donovan stood on the church steps, Gabriel at his side. Raphael and Michael moved through the property with a calculated awareness that spoke of their combat experience. They weren't just dogs, they were veterans who had just defended their sanctuary with a precision that would become legend. "I've never seen anything like this," Tom said, surveying the scene. Multiple Iron Wolves vehicles lay disabled, their tactical teams either detained or scattered. They came with everything they had: professional operators, military-grade equipment, and they still couldn't break through. The confrontation had been more than a simple territorial dispute. It was a comprehensive takedown of a sophisticated criminal infrastructure that had been building for years. Diego's digital forensics team was already processing the seized equipment. "These aren't just local operators," he reported, examining encrypted communication devices. "We're looking at a coordinated regional network with connections far beyond Redemption Valley." Maria emerged from the church's command center, her intelligence background evident in every calculated movement. Classified documents and digital evidence spread across makeshift tables told a story far more complex than a simple confrontation. "Look at this," she explained, pointing to a series of interconnected maps and financial records. "They weren't just targeting our church. This was part of a comprehensive regional takeover strategy. Land acquisitions, communication infrastructure. They were building a shadow economy." The dogs continued their tactical sweep of the property. Gabriel moved with the precision of a combat veteran, his scars telling stories of missions that had saved entire units. Raphael's tracking capabilities remained razor-sharp, his ability to detect potential threats undiminished. Michael, the youngest, demonstrated a tactical awareness that belied his years. Local community members began arriving, a testament to the solidarity that had been forged through the night's confrontation. Jake Martinez, the local mechanic, brought additional equipment for processing evidence. Maria Rodriguez from the diner arrived with coffee and supplies for the investigators. This goes deeper than anyone imagined, Tom explained, reviewing the seized intelligence. Multiple shell companies, coordinated infrastructure development that spans multiple counties. Federal investigators began processing the scene. Each disabled vehicle, each piece of electronic equipment, each document became a piece of evidence in what promised to be a massive legal operation. We're looking at multiple federal charges, one investigator explained. Conspiracy, attempted invasion of private property, interstate criminal enterprise. This is going to unravel entire criminal networks. Father Michael had done more than defend the church. They had exposed a sophisticated criminal infrastructure that had been operating with near total impunity. Tom summarized the situation during a brief press conference. What happened here wasn't just a local incident, he explained to gathered media. This was a comprehensive takedown of a criminal operation that threatened entire communities. Maria's intelligence analysis revealed the true depth of their victory. They thought they could create a shadow economy, she explained to federal investigators, build an infrastructure that could operate beyond traditional law enforcement capabilities. We just showed them that's not possible. The church had become more than a building. It was a symbol of resistance, a demonstration that determined individuals could stand against sophisticated criminal enterprises. Elena, who had played a crucial role in developing the church's defensive technologies, understood the broader implications. This isn't just about us, she explained to the team. This is about showing that there are still places that can't be bought, communities that won't break. As the day progressed, the full extent of their victory became clear. Multiple arrests, comprehensive intelligence gathered, a criminal network exposed and dismantled. The dogs remained alert, their tactical awareness never diminishing. Gabriel, Raphael, and Michael weren't just celebrating. They were maintaining their defensive posture, a testament to their training and commitment. Father Michael looked out over the church grounds, damaged but unbroken. They had defended more than just a building. They had defended a principle. The Iron Wolves had made a critical mistake. They thought they were attacking a simple church. They had no idea what they were really facing. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. The community of Redemption Valley had found its strength, and they would not be broken.